Gateway Gamers podcast.
Hello, my name is Bryan Marvel and welcome to the Gateway Gamers. This week I'm going to be bringing you some small games that I played recently. If you listened to last week's episode, you know we love big meaty games here. We love games that can take a long time. However, I personally love the small unsung heroes that are called filler games. The first game I'm going to talk to you about today is called Tanuki. Tanuki is designed by Cole Smith and published by Synapsis Games. Came out in 2024 and is a Take That family card game. If you're like me, when you hear the word Tanuki, you think of Super Mario Bros. 3, when Mario had the Tanuki suit, you get the leaf and he'd fly around. I had no idea Tanukis were a real animal, but this game is based on a group of settlers who are protecting their bamboo crops from rivals such as ninjas and yakuza and samurais and other players. Right off the bat for this game, the artwork is fantastic. It's cute, it's lively. You could tell this is a more family type of game. The goal of the game is to collect as much bamboo as you can, just playing cards. Each player starts with 3 cards, 2 gardener cards and a samurai card. One of the gardener cards is face up, the other's played face down. And what this is the gardeners are the way that you are collecting bamboo throughout the game. So you have the character cards in front of you, you have 1 gardener, you're collecting 1 bamboo at the end of your turn. Now on your turn, you're simply playing 1 card out of your hand. It could be an action card, which is placed in the discard pile and the effect applies immediately. Or a character card. A character card is played into your garden and the effects are done at the end of your turn. Once your turn is done, you draw another card in your hand. It's the next player's turn. This continues for as many rounds as it takes to get 2 seasons cards. What that is at the beginning of the game, you place these 2 season cards randomly into the deck. So it could come out anytime. And the first season card, when it's drawn, all players reveal their face-down gardener. So as I said at the beginning of the game, you have your face-down gardener, you're flipping it up. This just gives you more opportunity for bamboo. Once the second season card is drawn, the end game triggers as the final round. This is a really cool mechanic because in normal take-that games, you're kind of looking at what other people are doing, and if you see someone who's getting close to collecting the goal of usually what triggers an end game for a take-that, getting close to the end, everyone will kind of pile on that person. This one, because it's a race and kind of random, there's not too much piling on and too much take that to one person. It's kind of nice in a take that game, because that's the one thing I don't like about take that games is once there's an obvious leader, everyone just kind of gangs up on them. So the game sounds super simple because it is. It's really simple. It's really cute. Each character is really cartoonish on the card. The cards are very easy to read. It's very easy to tell what's an action card, what's a character card, and the text is super simple. There was not too many times where people I was playing with were like, what does this card do? Or what? Because it's simple. I'll give some example of the cards. One of them is the Yakuza. You steal a total of 3 bamboo from another player. Boom. Simple. It's an action card. It's noted by the lightning at the top. You know it's an action card. Goes to discard pile. You take 3 bamboo from another player. Another one is the Sumo. For this turn only, apply the effect of your gardener cards twice. So you could be doing, if you have 2 gardeners out and they're collecting 1 bamboo each, you play Sumo, you collect 4 bamboo. The samurai cards, I say you get 1 in the beginning, protects your gardener cards from bandit cards. Bandit cards are sprinkled into the deck. They're simply destroy a samurai card or steal a gardener card, so you can start stealing gardener cards from other players, which is their production of bamboo, so that's pretty hurtful. Geisha, steal 1 character card. A Ronin destroys 1 character card. Kabuki Actor, choose a card from a discard pile and play it. Ninja, apply all the opponent's gardener cards effects. So if you have a opponent who's been lucky enough to hoard up a bunch of gardener cards, you can play the ninja card to reap the benefit of the work they've done. It's a really devastating card. I think there's only 2 of them in the deck. Overall, this game, I'll be honest, when it came to us for review, I was kind of ho-hum on it. I like the art, I love the idea of the game, but it just seemed like very simplistic to me. I was like, okay, I'm going to take that game, and then when I read the directions, which I'll give a huge shout out to the directions. It's literally one little piece of paper, so it just kind of shows how easy it is. But that was part of it. I was like, oh, okay, like this seems very, very easy. I don't know if this is something I'm going to enjoy or something that I'm going to keep around for a while. I introduced it to my wife, who, if you're a longtime listener, knows notoriously does not enjoy 99.8% of the games that I kind of introduce or have in my collection. So when she played this game, she loved it. She absolutely loved this game, which brought me back. This is a gateway game for sure. Just how easy it is, how simple it was for her. She really didn't have any questions, which for her was amazing because she normally is like, what's this do? Or tries to argue with me on rules. But she really enjoyed this game. We played it with RP. RP really enjoyed this game. Again, forgetting that the point of this whole podcast is to introduce gateway games and to introduce games maybe that I wouldn't play to RP or games that are simple enough. I kind of forget that goal sometimes. So now I have a new affinity for this game and Tanuki and what it is. It's a fantastic take, that game. I love the art style. The more I play it, the more I kind of appreciate what it truly is. Just a filler game that is in between other games. There's no real explanation needed. I can introduce this to my nephew, my nieces, and just kind of enjoy and play games with them and not try to break their brain with some of the games that I try to introduce to them sometimes. So that is Tanuki from Synapsis Games. Also, Google what a Tanuki is. It kind of wrinkled my brain when I did. It looks just like a raccoon, but like walks around like a dog. It's a bit unsettling. Speaking of unsettling, it's the witching hour in the Enchanted Forest, and it's time to collect some talismans in the game Toil and Troublez. Toil and Troublez is published by Grandpa Beck's Game with the artist April Stott. For your listeners, you know how much we love Grandpa Beck's games. There isn't a game I think they've kind of put out and we played that we don't like, and this one's no exception. The goal of Toil and Troublez is to collect the most points by making collections. A collection is either one of each of the 5 talismans or 4 of the same talisman. This sounds pretty easy, but the way it plays is actually really interesting. So on your turn, you go take a card from the draw pile, place it in the Enchanted Forest in front of you. The Enchanted Forest is 3 rows that you're going to be working with. So on your turn, you go draw a card. If it's a 4, you put the 4 down one of the 3 rows you kind of designate. You can either choose to draw again or pass. When you draw again, you get another card. Let's say it's a 2. You will either play that 2 in another of the 3 rows to start, or place it besides the card that you drew already and place in the Enchanted Forest, as long as the card that you're drawing is a less number than the card that's down. So for example, if you are in the middle of a game and you have a row of 3, let's say just 3 cards are out, you have a 5, a 4, and a 2. You draw a card, it's a 2, you can only play it on one of the... You can't play it next to the 2 that's out, you can only play it next to the 5 or the 4, to the left. Sounds complicated, it was a bit wonky when we were kind of playing, but it's actually super simple and actually very ingenious when you're kind of playing when it's in motion. So you could choose to keep going until you bust. When you bust is when you draw a card that you can't play to the left of one of the rows that you already created. Your turn immediately ends, and you can only take 1 card from the outside row, not for any of the cards in the middle. So you can only take possibly 6 options of the cards are on the outside row, and this proceeds around. Each player takes 1 of those cards. However, if you choose to pass instead of busting, you can then choose to instead take an entire row of the forest. So you're kind of taking the risk of, do I want to keep drawing cards to make this row bigger, get cards I need, or am I possibly risking a chance to bust and only getting 1 card? So once you kind of take that whole row, you take any of the cards in there, and then you have to get rid of 1 of the cards, I think, 1 of the basic talisman cards, and then there's different action cards that you could also possibly get. The different character cards are represented as magicians. These are various powers you can kind of do. The one is Vanish. You can choose and call out 1 of the 5 talisman cards, and any other player who has 1 of these in their trove must discard it. If they do not have any of these cards, obviously they can't discard anything. Another one is the Summon, which allows you to move a talisman card of your choice from another player's trove into your own. The next one is Poison. You must discard a talisman card of your choice from your trove. And then there's the Cloak card, which is a card that comes up if you're drawing. You could put it on top of another number. So if you have a high number like a 5, you could put the Cloak on top of it, and it just becomes basically like a wild card. You could play any card next to it. But what's good about that is if you choose to pass it, you take that entire row. When you collect it, it becomes the number that it was. So if it was like a 5, a 4, a 3, when it's covered before you collect it, it's represented as a wild card. Once you collect the row and it's in your hand, it's the number that it was. As I was saying, some of the magicians or action cards affect your trove. What the trove is the collection of cards in front of you. These are the cards that you take from either the edge when you bust, or when it's not your turn, you take one card for the edge, or when you take an entire row, these are the cards you put down in front of you. These are the cards that you're trying to collect and create a set collection. So as I said, there's talismans of 1 through 5. It's 1 is a frog, 2 are crystals, 3 are mushrooms, 4 is a crow, and 5 is like an enchanted looking flower. And as I said, you're trying to create a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4 of the same number or talisman. So you have these cards in front of you, and as the game's going, you're putting them kind of as easily as you can manage in front of you. I just kind of had them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I would stack the cards underneath. And then once you create a set or row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a collection of the 4 cards, you take one of the cards from that set, put it face down in your trove to the side. That card is worth 10 points at the end of the game. Any card you have face up is worth 1 point. So this continues around with the new first player being the person who draws cards until they bust. The other players collect cards from the edge after that player busts or collects. And the game ends in different ways. For 2 to 3 players, when the draw pile is depleted. For 4 to 5 players, I think it's 2 times that the deck is depleted, and this game can go up to 6 players, and it's when the deck is depleted 3 times. This is another home run for Grandpa Beck's games. I absolutely love this game. When I first got it out and I first was reading the rulebook, my brain was wrinkling a bit what I was trying to do and what exactly it was asking me to do. But once you get into the flow of this game and really understand it, and you're able to teach it and kind of have someone who can teach you this game easily, this is a fantastic game. This is another Grandpa Beck game that is 100% staying in my collection. This is another game that my wife enjoyed for Grandpa Beck. This is another great gateway game for a family. I can't think of a single Grandpa Beck game that we have played or been introduced to that wasn't an absolute hit. We played it multiple times. I can easily bring out one of their games and play it and introduce it to a new gamer, to a hobby gamer, and it just kind of clicks and really works well. Bears and the Bees from Grandpa Beck's game is easily my most played game, I think, just because of how easily it's able to be introduced into a collection of new gamers and really seasoned gamers, and it just works really well. So that being said, this is another game that will be staying in my collection for sure. The next game I want to talk about is currently on Kickstarter. It's from Sheltonshire Games, and it's called Freak War. Freak War is an extremely simple but extremely clever game. It takes the idea of war, which you've played probably as a kid, where you just have a regular deck of cards. Each player flips 1 card up. Whoever has the higher number wins. So if you have a 9, the other person has an 8, you take his 8, blah, blah, blah. If you both play the same, you do the WAR war, put 3 cards out, then flip the highest one, whoever has the highest. You know, if you haven't played war, I don't know where you've been, under a rock or whatever. But this takes that idea and mixes it with a TCG, like Pokemon, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, like Lorcana. Kind of takes that idea with the idea of war and smashes it together. It's a genius idea. Like, it's really clever. It's very simple, but it's extremely clever in its creativeness. As I said, it's basically war, so each card is a character. It looks just like any TCG card. Like, it looks like Pokemon, it looks like anything else. The art style reminds me more of Adventure Time, if you've ever seen that kind of show. Just these zany, wacky characters. I have like a Drip Imp, which is just like a little raindrop looking guy. There's this one guy, it's like a platypus, I think is my favorite. It's just a little platypus with a birthday hat on in front of a cake looking like a sad sap. I love it. But the characters are like creative. The art style's great. And like I said, it's basically war. So I have a card in front of me called Super Cat. It looks like a TCG card with a picture. It has text at the bottom. It has all these stats that, as far as I can tell, don't matter in the basic game. It's a 1, so if I were to take this card and play it against somebody else, they would flip a card, I would flip this card. I have a 1, they have a 3. Very simple. However, each card also has a power, just like any other trading card game. And this power activates when you flip it up. So the Super Cat's power is muscles. Play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent until you lose. For every time you win, add +1 to the creature's attack level. So, depending on how many times I won rock, paper, scissors, is how much stronger the Super Cat is. That could eliminate the card on the other side. The card on the other side also has a power, though. So, let's say I play Tiny Vampire. It's a cute little vampire. Looks like he's eating a cheese ball out of like a bag. He's worth a 5. His power is Little Bite. Subtract 1 from the attack level of any opposing creature with a visible neck or wrist. Super Cat has 4 wrists because he's a cat and a neck, so he's actually -5, this Tiny Vampire. So it's very wacky and zany and random just like that, and I really like this. I was able to bring this to my classroom and played it pretty easily just as a basic rock, paper, scissors type game. Some of the kids who wanted to play a little more advanced, I would kind of read them the rules and we would do the wacky things. And they loved it. They loved the artwork. They loved the zaniness of it all. Just like in War, if 2 players play the same card number and after the effects and everything equal up, you play 1 card face down to sacrifice it while also playing another creature. So it's just kind of like same effect, like you're playing War in the same way. There is another version of the game called Battle, and this is more of a actual TCG style playing. You create a deck, you pick up 5 cards from your deck, and then on the count of 3, each player plays a creature into play. Their modifiers activate, but they also have different cards you can kind of play, like items. There's items in the game as well that can add +4 to a creature or affect another creature. So you can create your own deck. As I said, it's on Kickstarter currently. I have a deck of 60 cards. They have multiple different types of decks with more cards, more characters. You can unlock more through the campaign. They have custom packs, so you'll be able to get more cards to create your own deck eventually. I can only have the basic starter cards, so I could just do my basic deck, which is fine. I actually love this game. I will probably back this on Kickstarter when this episode drops. There'll probably be about 10 more days left, maybe a little less. So if it's something you're curious about, I would definitely check it out. Kickstarter, Freak War from Sheltonshire Games. I think they have additional rules for different styles of play. So it's something that they are really working on. And like I said, it's simple. It's so easy. It's simply War or a trading card game just mashed together. It gets a really easy idea, but it really works. And the art style, as I said, is just wacky and out there, but it really fits like just how weird a TCG can kind of get. So I really recommend this game. Check it out on Kickstarter. If not, check it out when it comes to retail. This game, I think, it's going to be a hit. I really enjoyed this game a lot. The last game I want to talk about today is probably the game that I have played the most, my wife has played the most, and my 5-year-old son has probably played the most since it's entered our household. It's one of those games where we literally just pick it up, play real quick, and then move along. It's Tossit. If you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, you have probably seen people playing this game. They're doing wonderful marketing, just showing them playing the game, and then that's kind of it, because it's that easy. It's literally, I say horseshoes, let's say bocce ball, where you just kind of got to get it closest to the pin. So Tossit are these silicon dart-shaped objects, and the goal of the game is one person throws the jack, which is a black Tossit arrow or dart. You throw it onto a surface, it sticks, and then the point of the game is the other players need to throw their darts or tossits the closest to that jack. And then you score up from whoever, 1 point for each tossit that's closer to the jack more than your opponent's tossit. It's wonderful. It's a truly wonderful, fantastic little game. We have a glass door outdoor patio. I keep these darts near there. My wife will just randomly grab the blackjack, throw it, and it's game on. The game goes until 13 points. We really don't even play points. We'll just play rounds where we're just throwing them. Like, honestly, like, it's such a fun game and activity. My son picks them up. He tries to throw them. He's awful at it because he has no coordination because he's only 5. But he still, like, when he gets one, will scream and yell and cheer. Like, it's just stupid fun. I've brought these to my classroom and introduced them as a type of lesson. I've introduced them in my lessons where we were talking about germs for the week, and I drew a bunch of germs. I laminated them, put them on my teacher cabinet, and my students just kind of threw the darts at them. It was a great gross motor activity that they loved. They're constantly asking me to bring these into the classroom. I'm probably going to end up buying more of these tossits to have at the house and in my classroom. The quality of these things are amazing. They feel thick and sturdy. When you throw them, they have like a great bounce to them. It's just so satisfying to throw these things. You could throw them onto a table to kind of create an arch and they'll stick to a table. As I said, we throw them onto a glass window. They stick to glass. There's so many different ways. I know on their website they sell like an actual like board that you can kind of throw and stick to. There's different ways to play. I think they said they have like a drinking game type mat probably that you can kind of buy. I can't say enough good things about this product. It comes in a recyclable box. It comes with a little bag that you keep them in. The darts themselves are dishwasher safe, so they feel like thick and sturdy, and you feel like you're getting what you're paying for. And then as you're throwing them, they're going to collect dust and dirt, lose their stickiness. So you can throw them in the dishwasher. You can wash them by hand, not feel like you're ruining them. So it's a wonderful product. It's a great little game and activity. They have a variety of colors on their website. They're constantly creating limited edition darts. Like I said, I'm going to try to grab some for the collection. I got to get that Gateway Gamers yellow and purple going so I can bring them to places. But excellent product. Toss it. Check them out. Find them on Instagram. Find them on TikTok. Wherever you kind of do social media. Check it out. It's a wonderful game and a wonderful product. Thank you for joining me again as I kind of go over the different filler games that I've been playing, different filler games that I've hit the table. I love these episodes because I love kind of covering the smaller games that don't get a lot of shine, a lot of love. But I think these games are absolutely fantastic. Check out my other filler game episode I did maybe a couple months ago without RP. These are episodes that I'm going to be continuing because, as I said, I love kind of introducing these smaller games that will not get a whole episode dedicated themselves, but definitely deserve the love. Thank you again for listening. Check out our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever other socials are out that are on. Mostly Instagram is the one that I kind of focus on. Check out our Redbubble TeePublic store if you want some merchandise, if you want to help us out. Hats, shirts, stickers are huge, magnets. And be sure to rate, like, and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a rating, give us a review. It really helps us out. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you guys soon.